We'll reach Paulus soon.
The final subcategory number 4, goes as much to the source as modern science allows us to do. And until we can improve our methods, this is the best direct evidence that racism indeed is natural, which stands in direct contrast to the notion that anti-racism is the natural default position as opposed to racism. This is where the final nail will be put in the coffin. Now, the final segment will deal with interpreting this data and arguing about the malleability of it. I expect that the logic I will provide will be sufficient in showing you that my interpretation of the conclusion is more honest and accurate. The first part will deal with facial recognition and memory.
You meet someone, a complete stranger, for the very first time. What's the first thing you notice about them? Is it their height, their body shape, their hairstyle, the clothes they wear, or is it their race? I know that if I was meeting, say, this woman for the very first time, my first thought would be, black woman.
Oh my god, somebody needs help. Hello, black woman standing on a table.
She said, "Oh no, you didn't."
Yeah, she did.
I like LaShonda. She plays into my perception of stereotypes.
Or I can see what else. Just crank it, Ron. No, don't turn it. Crank it.
No, that's not his style.
Alright, now that's more my style. That's more me.
Black people, that's more his style.
That's using Xbox Live.
This seems race appropriate.
Xbox, race appropriate music, please.
Yeah.
Move a bit in, like.
Who's that?
What's he
black
doing?
kid there? We don't know any black people.
There you go.
Now, I've had people say to me, yeah, Marla, but if you were bumping into this white woman for the very first time, your first thought wouldn't be white woman, you would just see another woman. And that'll probably be true. We notice a person's race if they are different to our own. It's just human nature.
These are two studies that indirectly show that we do categorize people based on race on the implicit level, in the subconscious level of the brain. What they also show, this study in particular, is that intergroup preferences are present at adult-like levels in early childhood. What this study proves is that when they use functional magnetic resonance imaging to examine sensitivities to social exclusion in 3 conditions: same race, other race, and self-resembling faces, people in their subconscious minds in the implicit level demonstrated the greatest ACC activation when being excluded by self-resembling and same race faces relative to other race faces. That is to say, we do recognize what group we belong to, and we are more upset. There's more of an emotional reaction when we are excluded by that group.
In 2007, Stanford University professor Dr. Jennifer Eberhardt designed an experiment to test the level of association between blacks and apes. The article describing her research is titled, "Not Yet Human: Implicit Knowledge, Historical Dehumanization, and Contemporary Consequences." This video is a summary of the results. Historical representations explicitly depicting blacks as ape-like have largely disappeared in the United States, yet a mental association between blacks and apes remains. Here the authors demonstrate that US citizens implicitly associate blacks and apes. Do people associate blacks with apes in contemporary US society? And if so, is this an association held by whites and non-whites alike? By measuring whether the mere presence of black male faces facilitates identification of ape images. Participants were subliminally primed with black faces, white faces, or non-face control images. The results show that the participants that were primed with a black face needed approximately 20 frames to see the ape in the blurred image, but participants who were primed with a white face needed approximately 26 frames to see the ape in the blurred image. A series of 6 studies provide evidence of a bidirectional association between blacks and apes that can operate beneath conscious awareness yet significantly influence perception and judgments. In studies 1 through 3, we demonstrated a strong bidirectional association between blacks and apes that directs visual perception and attention. These studies established that neither explicit prejudice nor in-group status moderation this association.
There are several things to take away from this video. One of the more relevant things is the fact that your explicit attitude towards race had nothing to do with your implicit attitude. That your implicit attitude towards racial differences is manifested in favoritism of your own group and ascribing the racial outgroup negative traits, such as having a harder time to separate sub-Saharan Africans from great apes. Studies has also revealed that human individuals are better at recognizing and remembering individuals of one's own race, and inversely worse at recognizing individuals and remembering individuals of another race. Now, let's talk more about hormones, in particular the hormone oxytocin. Hormones are powerful chemicals and affect our moods, metabolism, immune system, our growth. Hormone oxytocin, so-called love hormone. Oxytocin helps people create strong interpersonal bonds and healthy relationships. Without oxytocin, mother wouldn't be able to breastfeed her child and wouldn't feel a strong, loving bond to him. Scientists at the University of Amsterdam now revealed that oxytocin motivates people to unite and trust, but only with people they are close to, with people of the same ethnicity, nationality, not with different people. According to the scientist, oxytocin helps to feel ethnocentrism, to believe that my society and my nation is better and more important to me than other ethnics and nations. Thanks to oxytocin, a man feels connection to his folk, feels joy when his group defeats the others, or when his national team wins an international match. According to the scientist, the oxytocin system supports also some other feelings which are closely connected to favoring one's own group: bias against immigrants, refusal of different strangers, natural xenophobia. So the same chemical in our body which helps to create loving bond between mother and child also supports feelings of love and loyalty to one's own society, nation, and race. Czechoslovakian scientists revealed that also racism is natural in special form. In stem cell transplantation, they found out that human body never accepts stem cells from a donor of a different race or ethnicity. Quote, "I would never expect that such special racism works among cells. Its discovery will obviously have far-reaching consequences in medicine," close quote. So our own cells in our body fights against racial mixing.
We all like to think that we understand our own minds, that we carefully weigh the pros and cons when we make a decision, and that after we've made it, even if we have cause to regret it, we know why we decided the way we did. Oh, sure, we know some choices are more emotional than rational, but even then, We think we're conscious of all the conflicting arguments that run through our minds as we make a choice. Well, in this program, we'll find out how utterly deluded we are as we join in experiments revealing just how sneaky and underhanded our brains can be. I am ready to begin.
Okay.
Women, in fact, like Mazarine Banerjee, who's a professor here at Harvard University. The test is called the Implicit Association Test, and it begins simply enough. I have to pair the word in the center with one of the words above by pressing the E key with my left hand or the I key with my right. Well, it could be either way. Mazarine has told me to do this as fast as I can because it's the time I take to make the associations that's critical to the test.
Slight. I could tell he has a slight. This is very good.
Another of its designers is Brian Nozick, who personally developed the test he's taking now, intended to reveal hidden racial prejudice. These are the same faces you've seen many times.
Many times. In fact, I helped create the faces. So.
The heart of this test is to see whether it's easier for Brian to match words or pictures to the pairing of African American with bad and European American with good than when the pairings are reversed, European Americans with bad and African good.
I can predict.
Yeah. What do you think?
Moderate.
I'd
Moderate
say,
to strong. But
I'll say moderate as well.
yeah.
Strong preference for white.
You're taking this for the umpteenth time, and you still haven't caught on to the fact that you're a little biased. It really is remarkable that here I am in Cambridge, Massachusetts, perhaps the liberal capital of the country, with two academics who pride themselves on their enlightened attitudes, only to discover that they have latent within them biases they would fervently deny if their own test hadn't revealed them.
Perhaps you've now gotten the gist of what the implicit association test is. It reveals implicit subconscious attitudes and opinions which are in line with the values and opinions observed in young infancy and that persists into late adulthood and is observable cross-culturally, globally, all the way down to the earliest recorded human history. We will be talking more about the implicit association test in the next video. It appears that different brain areas respond strongly to people, depending on whether they belong, the left image, or don't belong, the right image, to groups we identify ourselves with. And one of these in-groups are more often than not race. Is this the neural basis of prejudice? Now, there's many interesting things about this finding. There is an explicit and implicit attitude gap, which we will be talking more about in the next video.